Welcome to Wednesday Wisdom. As we continue our studies in the book of Proverbs, we turn to chapter 18 today. Verse 1, He who separates himself seeks his own desire. He quarrels against all sound wisdom. God created Eve to be a helper. Not good for humans to be alone. And so Solomon is speaking sound knowledge here. We need others. We need the input of others. We need the help, the encouragement, the strength. This is why God envisioned the church itself, so we could be a strength and help to one another. Solomon will later write in Ecclesiastes that two are better than one. And so isolating ourselves is a dangerous, dangerous thing. Now, I realize in the middle of a pandemic, there are some people who have to do so. But these individuals who have to protect their health need to be sure and keep in contact with others. We have cell phones, we have the internet, we have all kinds of means of doing so. We broadcast our worship services. So don't isolate yourself because of this pandemic to the point that you wind up actually hurting and damaging yourself. 3, a common sense. When a wicked man comes, contempt also comes, and with dishonor comes scorn. A lot of wicked people coming right now, a lot of contempt, scorn, and other things coming in our world. We really need Christians to shine and shine brightly, because the world really needs to see that there is a way, way, way better way. Verse 4, the words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. Now realize how important water was to them back then. And of course, deep waters tended to be fresh and refreshing. And that's what Solomon is saying our mouths should be. Not putting down, not condemning, and we'll talk about this a little bit toward the end of our talk today. But our mouths should be fresh and bubbling, refreshing to other people. We need to be building, not tearing down. Satan wants to tear down. The world wants to tear down. Let's build. Well, with that thought, verse 7, a fool's mouth is his run, and his lips are the snare of his soul. Oh, there's an old expression, you give somebody enough rope and they'll hang themselves. You give a foolish person enough tongue and they'll beat themselves to death with their foolishness. The tongue can be our ruin. James talks about the danger of it and the need to control it. Verse 12, before destruction, the heart of man is haughty, but humility goes before honor. Oh, how many times have we seen haughtiness? A great example, the Third Reich of Hitler. It was going to last 1,000 years. They filmed their evilness and their treachery and everything else because they were so sure they were going to be able to stand. And of course, in the end, they fell. And so, humility, so much better. Realizing we cannot do it without God. We've got to have Him. We've got to have His help. And that is what humility is about. Not thinking we can do it, but knowing that with God's help, we can. 14. The spirit of a man can endure his sickness, but as for a broken spirit, who can bear it? You know, the spirit can be broken. People can lose their will. We see it in athletic competitions. We see it in life, where people, because of what has happened to them, because of the things they've had to endure, they're just broken. They're tragically down, and they can't seem to get themselves back up. Well, there's where friends, there's where Christian brethren come in, rallying around that individual, trying to encourage and build and strengthen them. You know, I like to see the fact that though families may not can visit family members in nursing homes right now, they'll go to the window. They'll have signs if it's multi-story buildings. They'll do what they can to keep contact and let their loved ones know we still care, we still love you, we're still here for you. Well, let's go back to that tongue. 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. What we say makes a difference. How we say what we say makes a difference. Now, I know I normally don't talk about political things, but we're in a hot political race. A lot of people on both sides are saying a lot of things, and Christians don't need to be in that kind of rhetoric. We don't need to be the ones fanning the flames on either side of the issues. We don't need to be trying to destroy those who might not vote the same way we're going to vote. That's not what Christians do. Christians don't turn on each other. You know, in a pack of wolves, that might be so. We're not wolves. We're not animals. Don't be turning on one another. Don't use your tongue for wicked things. Speak things, as we've already said, a fountain, deep waters to refresh other people. That's the real power of the tongue. And that's what we really need to be using the tongue for. And then verse 24, believe it or not, the first part of this verse is very, very difficult to translate. And it's amazing the different renderings we get. The New King James, a man that has friends must show himself friendly. But the New American Standard says a man of too many friends comes to ruin. But the real heart of the verse is the one that's easy to translate. But there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother. And I'm sure there are many of us who look at our brothers and sisters in Christ, and in many respects, we are closer to them than we may be our own physical families. That's what God intended. There are going to be lots of people in lots of congregations that don't have physical family there. And they need their brothers and sisters. They need their brothers and sisters in good times and in not so good times. We're to rejoice with those that rejoice and weep with those who weep. And oh, how that is so necessary in our world today to keep our brothers and sisters going. So may God help us be what He wants us to be.